There can be no doubt, leadership is what separates a place of work from a place to work. But what makes a good leader? Welcome to OnPoint, a thought-provoking podcast on leadership. It's for leaders. It's by leaders. Here are your hosts, Jim Livingston and John Nielsen.
Hi, and welcome to this episode of OnPoint. My name is Jim Livingston.
And my name is John Nielsen.
So, John, one of the common questions we get asked by leaders alike at different levels is, how do I manage upwards? How do I manage my senior stakeholders? I mean, what's the difference between managing upwards versus managing our peers and managing down?
Yeah. So one of the first things coming to my mind is really influencing versus managing. Yeah. So when it's more upwards with senior leaders, I feel it's a lot of influencing, convincing them, potentially getting approval for bigger decisions, versus when you work with your team, it's more managing and leading that team, which is quite different.
So could I say that's tied to our authority level? I mean,
yeah,
when you're managing upwards, you don't have the authority to lead your boss, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Likewise, you don't have necessarily the authority to lead your peers, but you do have sort of that authority to lead the people below you.
It's a different level of authority.
Yeah, completely right. Another one that comes to mind is, which is kind of related to some extent, is control. Mm-hmm. You have more control over you and what you do and what your people do versus your peers and what they do and versus what your manager does. So that control of time is a key factor. What else is there you can think of?
I like that one. I think another one is clearly the agenda or the size of the agenda. So if I am the manager, my agenda has a certain size, but the more senior manager clearly has a much larger agenda. And that is really important to acknowledge, as we have not different, but different size of agenda.
And with that different agenda comes different visibility. Obviously, we have more visibility over our agenda. We don't always have as much visibility over the wider agenda.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
So that's a key factor. So I suppose the question is, we know that managing upwards is important, but why is it important? What are your thoughts around this?
So first of all, I think when we communicate upwards, it's about understanding it's a great opportunity to promote the great work we do every day and our people. Very often I hear when it comes to promotion season or any bonuses that the senior leaders don't know about the great work happening in my team or other teams. And it's often because we did not share. So it's a great opportunity to share some of the great impact we create and what people are doing, and what kind of great people we have in our organization. And I think that is one which is often being missed out on.
Yeah, it's a very good point. Quite often senior leaders or our managers, we're not aligned with them in terms of how our people are showing up or how our people are performing. So it's important in that sense. Another reason why it's important is because it opens up opportunities. Our ability to manage upwards opens up opportunities not just for us but for our people in terms of work and the sorts of things that we can get exposed to. So I think opening those opportunities is another piece.
Yeah, I think that there are opportunities. It is always an opportunity to learn something new, but also to potentially get some new work and get involved in other projects across the organization. Yeah. I totally agree with that. Another one which I really think about is really the senior leaders. They have a bigger agenda, okay? But also they have things they are measured on, yeah? And we really absolutely contribute to their success, yeah? And really understanding how we contribute and make them more successful. That is really a very good reason that a senior leader would give me more time if I can help him or her to be more successful, yeah? So helping them to be successful, I think, is important to think about.
And along that lines of help, it's also about helping the organization. Because as leaders, we're sort of like, in many ways, we are the bridge between the people below us and the leaders above us.
Yes.
So that's a great opportunity for us to be able to take information and transfer it downwards, but also to be able to take feedback and transfer it upwards. So I think our role in pushing information up and down the organization is really, really key in that sense.
Super essential,
yeah. So we know that managing upwards is important. We know why it's important. What are some of, if we were to sort of think about 3 or 4 key things that we need to do to manage upwards, what would those 3 or 4 things be?
Jim, to be honest, the first thing coming to my mind is really understanding their world. understanding what's going on in their universe, so to say. Because very often we are so laser focused on what we do every day to do a great job, and we forget about what's going on in their world. So the better we understand their world and what's going on, the better we can have a really fruitful conversation, as I say.
Yeah, and I would say this doesn't just apply to managing upwards, this also applies to managing our peers in that sense.
Totally.
The more we understand them, the world they operate in, their needs, their wants, the pain points that they have, the better we're in a position to be able to anticipate those needs and wants and really help them out.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I think that's a really good one. Another one that comes up is really about anticipating needs and wants.
Yeah.
Right? Do we know, for example, if we're presenting to someone, do we know what they're going to expect from us in that presentation? Do they want lots of detail? Do they want high level? That's a really key thing for me, is being able to anticipate what they need or want.
Yeah, because senior leaders are clearly different. We all humans, and as you say, really for me, one of the biggest differences is some bigger picture, some details. So really keep that in mind. And if you don't understand, find out what type of person it is.
And I think on that note, it's really about understanding their world. It's also about aligning your work and what you do to that bigger agenda. Exactly. I think if you're able to align what you do to that bigger agenda, that sort of puts you in the right way. Exactly. So understanding them and their world is really, really key. A second one that comes up, and I think this is super crucial, is our ability to communicate sort of really convincingly, really clearly, really concisely. I see it happen all too often where we babble, we're not to the point, we beat around the bush. And I think it's really important that, when you're managing upwards, they have limited time in a lot of cases. We need to be really, really clear, really concise on that.
I think this I cannot stress enough. I think the words you choose, how you present, keep it simple, but also practice. And it's not that you have to practice for every meeting, but it's important that you come across confident and you know your stuff. And if you kind of shake a little bit and not very sure about the words you use, it can kind of lead to thinking that you are not very confident on top of things.
Yeah, and I would say on this communication piece, it's also about communicating your vulnerability. I mean, when you don't know something, not being afraid to admit, hey, I don't know, but I will find out the answer. So being able to do that confidently is really important. So we've got understanding them and their world. We've got communicating clearly and concisely. What would a third one be?
I would say the tagline coming to my mind is about demonstrating commitment and potential. So commitment in terms of whatever you are in charge of, really demonstrate that how committed you are and how things are being executed. But also to a certain extent, show your potential. We all bring potential to the table, and I'm not saying every conversation is kind of they are checking your potential, but you can show that you think beyond your obvious, and it's a great way to show your potential and sell yourself.
Potential is an interesting word, because I think when we talk about potential, we're talking about, does this person have the capabilities to do more and more? Does this person have the capabilities to take on bigger and bigger roles? Does this person have the capability, that willingness, that desire to really help us lead the organization forward? So I think that's a really important point about the potential.
And I just also show that you are hungry. You want to learn more. I love people who like to who show that they are hungry and want to learn more and grow. We are all humans.
So if we were to sort of add a few points, really show initiative. Don't be afraid to sort of jump in and sort of do stuff and talk about it later. Demonstrate some initiative. I think that's one thing that I really want to see. I don't want people coming to me saying, hey, I've got a problem. I want people coming to me saying, hey, I've got a problem, but I've also got some answers that could fix it.
Exactly. I totally agree with that.
Okay, anything else you can think of in this piece?
I think it's just a great opportunity to shine and demonstrate what you are doing. And I just say, just don't be afraid. See it as opportunity and not as something, I have to be careful. It's a mindset thing, It's an opportunity.
So there you go. There's 3 real key ideas to help you sort of manage upwards. Understand them and their world really, really importantly. Communicate clearly and concisely, and really demonstrate your commitment and your potential, and become the best that you can be. I think if you can do those 3 things, right? Your ability to get more time, your ability to influence upwards, your ability to be seen in the right sort of light is going to, for you and your team, is going to help immensely.
I totally agree. A very good starting point, yeah.
You've been listening to OnPoint, a thought-provoking podcast for leaders by leaders. Want to keep up to date or come on the show? Please visit www.northpoint-training.com/onpoint.